The twin suns of Vornax burned bright in the sky, painting the vast metal domes of Vornax Military Academy in gold and silver light. It was a place known across the galaxy, where only the strongest and most disciplined soldiers were trained. Every species in the Galactic Union sent its best warriors here. But this was not a normal academy. It was a fortress built to test the spirit as much as the body. In the great training yard, hundreds of alien cadets stood in long rows. Their bodies gleamed under the suns. Scales, fur, metallic skin, and all forms of alien shapes. They had come from far planets, cold worlds of ice, burning deserts, floating cities, and even gas giants. Each one carried pride for their species. At the far end of the line stood a single human, Cadet Alex Wren. He was smaller than most of them, his build not as large or armored as others. His eyes, though, held calm focus. He didn't move, didn't speak. He simply watched, learning everything around him. The instructor, Commander Varkoth, a tall insectoid being with a sharp voice, stepped forward. His armor clicked as he walked. "Cadets!" he shouted. "You stand on sacred ground. Here strength is not only measured by your claws or weapons. Here your courage will be tested by the trial of the war beast." A deep silence fell over the crowd. Everyone knew that name. The war beast, a living creature used in training for generations. It was not just a monster. It was a creation of war, designed to test a soldier's heart. Some cadets fainted just hearing its roar. Some never returned from the trial. Commander Varkoth's wings twitched as he continued. "Tomorrow each of you will enter the trial arena. You will face the war beast one by one. There are no second chances. You either show your worth, or the academy sends you home." A murmur spread among the cadets. Fear, excitement, and pride mixed together. Every species had stories about the beast. Some said it had the strength of 10 soldiers, others that it could sense fear. Most of them didn't care about the truth. They only wanted to survive. Alex stayed quiet. He knew the others were watching him. A few alien cadets whispered in low voices. "Look at the human," one said, "a lizard-like creature with glowing eyes. They say his species is new to the Union. Weak bones, soft skin." Another laughed. "Maybe he'll be the first to run away when the beast roars." Alex heard them but didn't respond. He had learned long ago that silence was stronger than argument. He focused on the commander's next words. "You will train today for the final time before the trial," Varkoth said. "Study the beast's patterns, observe, learn, because tomorrow, it learns you." The crowd dispersed into training groups. Cadets lifted weights, practiced combat, and studied holographic simulations of the war beast. It appeared as a tall, four-legged creature with armor-like skin, red eyes, and a jaw strong enough to crush metal. It was not just muscle. It had been bred with intelligence, a mind that could test your spirit. It did not kill. It broke pride. Alex sat alone in the observation hall, studying every movement of the beast's recordings. He noticed details others ignored, the way it tilted its head before attacking, the brief pause when it sensed something unusual, the slight twitch near its scarred shoulder. While others tried to find its weakness and strength, Alex saw something else. Pain. The creature was restless, angry, but not mindless. There was thought behind its eyes. It wasn't fighting for survival. It was trapped in endless combat. That realization stayed in Alex's mind. Later that night, as the sun set behind the academy domes, Alex walked near the edge of the training grounds. The stars of the galaxy stretched above like a river of light. He thought of Earth, a small world among giants. Humans had only joined the Galactic Union 20 years ago. Many still saw them as fragile and emotional beings. But Alex didn't care about how others saw his kind. He had joined the academy for a reason, to prove that humanity had something different to offer. "Hey, human," a voice called behind him. It was Thark, a reptilian cadet known for his strength and pride. "Do you really think you can face the beast tomorrow?" Alex turned. "Everyone will face it." Thark's long tail moved slowly behind him. "Yes, but not everyone will survive it with honor. You should stay out of the way. It would be shameful for the beast to crush something so soft." Alex looked at him calmly. "Maybe strength is not only in size." Thark laughed, a sound like cracking stone. "We will see, little human. Tomorrow, the war beast decides." He walked away, leaving Alex alone under the stars. The next morning came with a deep, echoing horn across the academy. The trial day. Cadets marched toward the arena, a vast circular field with walls made of energy shields. The air hummed with tension. In the center, a massive steel gate waited. Behind it, the war beast, the stands filled with instructors and officers. The command staff observed from a high balcony. Commander Varkoth stood with folded arms. "Cadets of Vornax," he announced. "Today you prove yourselves not to me but to the galaxy. The war beast will test each of you. Remember, fear is your true enemy." The first cadet, a tall insectoid named Zilra, stepped into the arena. The gates opened and the war beast came forth. It was enormous, four-legged, covered in dark metal scales that shimmered like living armor. Its eyes glowed red. Its breath came in hot gusts of steam. Every movement carried thunderous power. The crowd went silent as the beast roared. The ground shook. Zilra raised her energy spear and charged. For a moment, light flashed as she struck the creature's side. The weapon broke. The beast swiped with its massive paw and sent her flying into the shield wall. Alarms blared. She was alive, but the round was over. The next cadet tried a plasma net, useless. Another tried sonic grenades. The beast crushed them with its claws. One by one they fell. The war beast stood undefeated, roaring louder with every victory. From the observation deck, Alex watched carefully. He noticed again that brief hesitation before each strike, the way its muscles tightened near the shoulder, how its eyes always searched for fear. It wasn't attacking out of rage. It was responding to emotion. He whispered to himself, "It reacts to fear, not strength." As the list of cadets grew shorter, more were carried out by medics. Even Thark, who had mocked Alex, lasted only 10 seconds before the beast threw him aside like dust. Finally, Commander Varkoth called out, "Next, Cadet Alex Wren of Earth." A wave of murmurs swept through the crowd. Some laughed. Some looked curious. A few whispered, "This will be quick." Alex stepped forward. His heart beat fast, but his face stayed calm. He walked through the open gate. The heavy metal door closed behind him with a thud. The war beast stood across the arena, its red eyes glowing like twin fires. It lowered its head, growling deep from its chest. The sound vibrated through the ground. Alex didn't reach for any weapon. He simply stood there, hands by his sides. He took a slow breath and exhaled. The crowd waited for him to run. He didn't move. The beast growled louder and began to circle him, its claws scraping the floor. Its breath came in waves of heat. But Alex didn't show fear. He studied its movements carefully, step by step. He remembered something his Earth mentor once told him. "When you face a storm, don't fight the wind. Stand firm until it passes." The beast stopped in front of him, inches away. It leaned down, sniffing him. Its teeth gleamed like blades. Alex didn't blink. He looked straight into its eyes. For a long moment, time seemed frozen. The creature blinked slowly, uncertain. Its growl softened into a deep rumble. The crowd whispered, confused. Commander Varkoth leaned forward. "What is he doing?" Then the beast let out a thunderous roar that shook the arena. Alex still didn't move. The part ends there. As the war beast lowers its head closer to the human, and for the first time in the Academy's long history, it hesitates. The entire arena went silent. The air felt heavy, as if even the suns above had stopped shining for a moment. The war beast, Rakaroth, stood face to face with the human cadet, Alex Wren. The creature's deep growl rumbled through the ground. But Alex didn't move. Every instructor, every cadet, every alien in the stands held their breath. The crowd had seen many battles, but this quiet moment felt more dangerous than any explosion. Commander Varkoth narrowed his eyes. "What is that human doing?" he muttered. His wings twitched with impatience. "He's not even armed." From the sidelines, the reptilian cadet Thark, still bruised from his own defeat, growled under his breath. "He will be crushed." He stands there like prey, but the war beast didn't attack. It moved around Alex slowly, muscles rippling under its metallic hide. Its claws scratched long marks on the ground as it circled him. The beast's red eyes stayed fixed on Alex, watching every breath, every heartbeat. Alex stood calm. His eyes didn't show fear. Inside, his pulse raced, but he forced his breathing to stay steady. He knew one truth: fear fed the creature. It could sense it, smell it, taste it. If he showed weakness, the trial would be over in seconds. "Come on," Alex whispered to himself. "You're not my enemy. You're just trying to understand." The crowd couldn't hear his words, but the war beast reacted. It tilted its head slightly as if confused by the soft tone. A low sound came from the creature, not a roar this time, but a questioning growl. Its huge nostrils flared as it sniffed the air near Alex. Alex kept his hands at his sides and took a slow step forward. His boots scraped lightly against the arena floor. Immediately, the creature lifted its head higher, teeth bared. The crowd gasped, expecting it to strike, but it didn't. Instead, the beast made a low huffing sound like a warning, but also a test. Alex stopped moving. "All right," he said quietly. "You don't want sudden moves. That's fine. Let's do this your way." The translator device in his ear crackled softly, repeating his words in the universal tongue. Commander Varkoth frowned. "Is he talking to it?" Another instructor, Lieutenant Hera, a calm, silver-skinned alien, whispered. "Maybe he studied the recordings. Some species believe the beast responds to emotion." Varkoth scoffed. "Emotion doesn't win wars." The beast's eyes glowed brighter. Its tail flicked once, slicing dust into the air. Then it stomped forward, closing the distance between itself and the human. The vibration hit Alex's chest, but he didn't retreat. He felt the ground shake under his boots. He looked straight up at the creature towering above him, 8 feet tall at the shoulder, breathing heat like an engine. For a moment, nothing else existed. Then, the beast roared, louder than thunder. The sound hit Alex like a wall of force. His ears rang, his body trembled, but he didn't fall. He stood still, his eyes locked on the creatures. The audience covered their ears. Sparks flickered on the energy shields protecting the stands. The beast stopped roaring. It looked confused. Usually the opponent ran, cried, or attacked in panic. The human did none of that. Alex spoke again, his voice steady. "You're not angry. You're trapped here. You've been fighting for years. You want to see if anyone understands you." The creature snorted, and for a moment it looked almost thoughtful. Its head lowered again, its nostrils almost touching Alex's chest. Alex didn't move. His hand twitched slightly, but he forced it to stay down. The beast's hot breath blew against his face, thick with the smell of metal and ozone. Its red eyes were close enough that Alex could see his reflection in them, tiny, fragile, human, but standing firm. The crowd was silent. Then the creature growled again, shorter this time. Its head turned slightly to one side like it was testing him. Alex spoke softly. "You want to see if I'll break, don't you? Everyone else tried to fight you. I won't. I'm not here to destroy you." From the command balcony, Commander Varkoth clenched his claws. "He's wasting time. The beast will—" But Lieutenant Hera raised her hand. "Wait," she said. "Look, its posture changed." Varkoth leaned closer to the viewing screen. The war beast's muscles had relaxed slightly. Its claws were still ready but not attacking. Its tail no longer lashed wildly, it was still waiting. "This is impossible," Varkoth whispered. "No one has ever reached this stage without being thrown across the arena." Down in the arena, Alex took another slow breath. His voice trembled slightly now, not from fear but from the weight of the moment. "I'm not your enemy. I'm not afraid of you." The creature let out a sharp, low growl that sounded almost like disagreement. Alex smiled faintly. "I know, you don't believe me yet. Minutes passed like hours." The arena had never been so silent. Even the hum of the energy shield seemed distant. Then, without warning, the war beast lifted one paw, each claw long as a blade, and brought it down in a powerful strike toward the ground. The crowd screamed. Varkoth shouted, "Enough! Shut down the trial!" But the strike landed beside Alex just inches away. The shockwave knocked him to one knee. Dust rose around him, covering the air in a gray cloud. When the dust settled, Alex was still there, one knee down, head bowed, but alive. He looked up slowly, meeting the creature's gaze again. The war beast tilted its head, confused. It had expected fear, maybe a scream. Instead, Alex looked back at it calmly, breathing heavily but steady. "You wanted to see if I would run," he said. "I won't." Up in the stands, a group of cadets began whispering. Did he just survive that strike? He didn't even fight back. He's insane. But one voice, quiet and respectful, said, "He's brave." Even Thark, sitting among the medics with bandages on his shoulder, stared in silence. For the first time, he felt something new: respect. The war beast took a step back, its massive claws retracting slightly. It looked at Alex with deep, glowing eyes. It made a sound that was hard to describe. Not a growl, not a roar, but something softer. Alex didn't fully understand it, but he felt its meaning. The beast wasn't angry anymore. It was testing him in another way, seeing how far he could go without fear. Alex slowly lifted his hand, palm open, and said quietly, "I'm not here to hurt you. I just want to understand you." The instructors gasped. "He's going to touch it?" Commander Varkoth slammed his hand on the railing. "If that creature attacks, the human will be—" He stopped mid-sentence. The war beast leaned forward, its nostrils brushing Alex's hand. It sniffed once, twice, and then, against all logic, it didn't strike. It simply stood there. The arena was silent except for the creature's slow breathing. Alex whispered, "You're not just a weapon, are you? You're alive. You think. You feel." The creature's red eyes dimmed slightly, no longer glowing with rage. It let out a deep, slow breath that blew Alex's hair back. Then, as if to prove its acceptance, the beast lowered its head and pressed it lightly against the ground beside him. The crowd erupted into shouts of disbelief. Commander Varkoth froze. His voice was low and filled with awe. "In all recorded trials, it has never bowed." Lieutenant Harris smiled faintly. "Until now." Alex stood there, still in shock, but his mind was racing. He didn't want to ruin the fragile connection. He slowly stepped closer and placed his hand gently on the beast's armored hide. The surface was warm, humming with energy. The creature made a soft, low rumble that sounded like peace. Every cadet in the arena watched in silence. Even the harsh suns above seemed quieter, their light falling on the human and the beast standing side by side. In that moment, the Academy saw something it had never seen before, not a fight, but an understanding. Commander Varkoth finally broke the silence. "End the trial," he said. "The beast has made its choice." The arena gates opened slowly, the sound echoing through the still air. Alex stepped back, but the war beast didn't move. It stood tall, watching him leave. As Alex crossed the gate, the creature let out one last deep sound, a long, low roar that wasn't filled with anger, but pride. It was almost as if it was saying, "Remember me." Outside the arena, medics rushed toward Alex, but he waved them off gently. He was exhausted but unhurt. Thark approached him slowly, his usual pride replaced by humility. "Human," he said quietly, "you didn't defeat the beast. You spoke to it." Alex smiled tiredly. "Sometimes words are stronger than weapons." That night, as the suns dipped below the horizon, the Academy was alive with whispers. The legend of the war beast had changed. For the first time in its history, it had bowed to someone, and that someone was human. Alex sat alone in his quarters, staring out the window at the twin moons. He didn't feel like a hero. He only felt curious and a little sad. "What are you really?" he whispered to the stars. "And why did you stop when you looked at me?" He didn't know it yet, but that day had changed everything, not just for him, not just for the Academy, but for all of humanity, because in the eyes of the war beast a new kind of strength had been born. The next morning, the twin suns rose again over Vornak's military academy, painting the metal domes in shades of gold. The air still carried the echo of yesterday's unbelievable event, the war beast bowing to a human. No one could stop talking about it. Everywhere Alex went, cadets whispered and pointed. Some looked with curiosity, some with respect, and some with disbelief. A group of insectoid cadets buzzed among themselves. "He didn't fight," one said. "He didn't even move," another replied. "The beast bowed. That means it accepted him." "How can that be? The war beast only bows to the commander." A third cadet said softly, "Maybe. It saw something different in the human." Alex walked past them quietly. He didn't feel like a hero. He felt thoughtful. His mind replayed the trial again and again, the roar, the dust, the eyes of the creature, and that strange moment of peace. He had felt something deep when he touched it, not anger, not hatred, but something like sadness. The war beast had been fighting for years, trapped in endless trials. It had no rest, no freedom, no understanding. It had become a living weapon, feared by everyone. Alex wanted to know why. Inside the command hall, Commander Varkoth stood with Lieutenant Hera and a group of senior instructors. The hologram above the table showed the recording of the trial, the moment the beast bowed. "Unbelievable," said one of the officers, a crystal-bodied alien with a voice like wind. "The creature has never shown submission." What changed? Varkoth's claws tapped against the metal table. The human did something no one else has ever done. He didn't fight. Lieutenant Hera nodded. He treated the beast as a living being, not an obstacle. Perhaps it sensed that. Varkoth frowned. We built this academy to test warriors, not to make friends with beasts. If the creature can be influenced by emotion, it's dangerous. But Commander, Hera said calmly, maybe this shows that humans bring a new kind of strength. Emotional intelligence. We have used power and fear for centuries. Perhaps understanding can tame what violence cannot. Varkoth's wings shifted uneasily. He didn't answer right away. Finally, he said, Summon Cadet Alex Wren. I want to see this human for myself. Alex entered the command hall with a steady step. He saluted respectfully. Commander. Varkoth studied him for a long moment. You are not like other species, human. You stood before the war beast and did not tremble. Why? Alex took a breath. Because I realized it wasn't angry and it was in pain. It wasn't fighting to kill. It was trying to protect something inside itself. The commander raised a brow ridge. Protect? It's a weapon, not a creature with feelings. Alex looked straight at him. Every living thing has feelings, sir. Even something made for war can feel fear or sadness. Maybe it just never met someone who didn't treat it like a monster. The room fell silent. Some instructors exchanged glances. Lieutenant Hera smiled slightly. Interesting. The human speaks like a philosopher. Alex continued. If we keep fighting it, it will keep fighting back. But if we show understanding, maybe it learns to stop. Varkoth's claws clicked. You think kindness can control a war creature? Alex nodded. Not kindness, respect. For a moment, the commander said nothing. Then he turned to Hera. Prepare a second trial. I want to see if this connection is real or just luck. Later that day, the arena was once again filled with cadets and instructors. The war beast stood inside, calm but alert. The scars on its armored body shimmered faintly under the light. When Alex entered, the creature's head turned toward him immediately. It gave a low rumble that sounded different from its usual roar, almost like recognition. The crowd whispered again. It remembers him? Alex stopped a few meters away. Hello again, he said softly. I didn't expect to see you so soon. The creature's tail moved slowly behind it, but it didn't attack. Commander Varkoth spoke through the loudspeaker. Cadet Wren, this is a test. No weapons, no tricks. Approach the war beast again. Alex nodded. He walked forward one step at a time. His hands were open, his movements calm. The beast snorted, the ground vibrating slightly, but it didn't roar. Its eyes glowed dim red. Not hostile, but watchful. When Alex reached it, he slowly raised his hand. May I? He asked quietly. The war beast lowered its head. Gasps spread across the arena. Alex touched the beast's forehead. Its skin felt like warm metal, alive and humming. The creature let out a deep breath, almost peaceful. From the command deck, Varkoth watched in shock. It allowed him again. It allowed contact. Hera whispered, The bond is real. Alex smiled faintly. You're not a monster, he said softly. You've just been alone for too long. The war beast blinked slowly. Its large red eyes softened, showing something almost like understanding. Then for a moment, Alex felt something strange. An image flashed in his mind. He saw dark corridors, flashing lights, cages, scientists in armor. The creature roaring in fear, trapped behind force fields. Alex stepped back, breathing hard. Did you show me that? The beast growled softly like an answer. The instructors murmured in confusion. What's happening down there? Alex shook his head. It's communicating, he said. Not with words, with thoughts or memories. It remembers being created here. Tested again and again, Varkoth froze. You're telling me it understands its past? Yes, Alex said. It remembers the pain. For a few minutes, silence filled the arena again. The bond between human and creature was clear to everyone watching. Then the war beast suddenly lifted its head, eyes flaring bright red. It looked toward the observation deck and gave a sharp, angry roar. The walls shook, the instructors panicked. What's happening? Alex turned quickly. No! It's not attacking. It's angry about what was done to it. It doesn't want to fight anymore. The beast slammed its claw down, not at Alex but near the steel door at the far end as if demanding freedom. The commander shouted orders. Restrain it! Activate control fields. Energy barriers flickered to life around the creature, glowing blue. The war beast growled loudly, striking the barriers again, sparks flying in every direction. Alex ran forward. "Stop, you're scaring it." But the soldiers didn't listen. The creature let out another roar of pain as the energy current hit its body. "Stop it," Alex shouted, his voice echoing across the arena. "You're making it worse." Lieutenant Hera turned to the commander. "Sir, he's right. If we keep shocking it, it might break free." Varkoth hesitated. Then he waved his hand. "Cut the power." The energy fields vanished. The war beast stood still, smoke rising from its armor. Its breathing was heavy and uneven. Alex stepped close again. "Easy now. It's over. No one will hurt you again." The beast looked at him, its eyes fading from bright red to a softer orange. It lowered its head slightly, exhausted but calm. Varkoth stared down at the scene. His voice was low and uncertain. "This human. He controls it without force. How?" Hera answered quietly. "He doesn't control it. He connects to it. That's something none of us ever tried." Varkoth looked thoughtful. For the first time in his long career, he wondered if strength had blinded him from seeing other kinds of power. Later, after the arena cleared, Alex sat beside the war beast inside its holding area. The creature lay on the ground, breathing slowly. The dim light reflected off its armored skin. Alex spoke softly. "They didn't mean to hurt you. They just don't understand yet." The beast blinked, letting out a low sound that vibrated through the floor. Alex smiled slightly. "You've seen too many battles, haven't you? Maybe it's time someone fought for you instead." He sat there for a while, not saying anything else. The war beast seemed to relax, its huge body finally resting for the first time in years. When Lieutenant Hera came to escort Alex out, she watched the peaceful scene in silence. "You've changed it," she said softly. "No one else could." Alex stood. "It's not me who changed it. It was always capable of peace. It just needed someone to believe that." Hera nodded slowly. "You've given us something new to think about, human. Maybe the galaxy has something to learn from your kind after all." Alex looked back at the beast before leaving. "Tomorrow I'll come again," he said. "I'll teach them that you're more than what they made you." The creature gave a soft, rumbling reply, almost like a promise. That night, as Alex returned to his quarters, the stars outside the window shone brighter than usual. He sat down, staring at them. He whispered, "Maybe peace can start with one simple thing: listening." Far across the academy, in the dark arena, the war beast lifted its head and looked toward the same stars, as if it heard him. And for the first time in its long life, it didn't feel alone. The entire training arena was silent. The war beast stood beside Alex, its enormous body covered in scars and metal plates that shimmered under the bright arena lights. Dust hung in the air, and every cadet, every instructor, and even the high commanders watched closely. No one had ever seen the creature act this way. The war beast was born from war. It had destroyed ships, crushed soldiers, and defeated entire squads in combat training. It was made to fight. It was not meant to bow or trust anyone. Yet there it was, standing still beside a single human. Alex slowly lowered his hand from the beast's hide, his calm breath steady despite the tension. He could feel the creature's pulse through its thick armor-like skin. It was alive, thinking, cautious, but not angry anymore. The head instructor, Commander Zoran, a tall, sharp-eyed alien with silver scales, whispered, "Impossible." It should have torn him apart. The other instructors stood frozen. They had spent years studying this creature's behavior. The war beast only knew dominance and rage, but Alex had spoken to it as if it were something more, something with a soul. The beast's single red eye blinked slowly, watching Alex. Then, with a deep growl that made the walls shake, it took a step back. Dust rose under its claws. Its tail swept behind, but the motion was not threatening. It was waiting, testing. Alex raised his eyes to meet its gaze again. He understood now. This wasn't the end of the trial. This was the real test. He took a step forward, feeling the rough ground under his boots. The war beast growled louder, lowering its head slightly, almost like it was asking a question that only Alex could hear. The human didn't flinch. His voice was soft but firm as he said, "You're not my enemy. You're just afraid of being hurt again." The alien cadets watching from the stands didn't understand the words, but they could see the calm confidence in his tone. They felt something unusual: respect. The war beast's chest rumbled as it made a deep sound like thunder trapped inside metal. Its eyes shifted, focusing on the human's small figure. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then it let out a sharp, echoing roar that filled the entire arena. Everyone thought it would attack. Some cadets screamed. Others hid behind the energy barriers. But Alex didn't move. The beast's claws struck the ground beside him, sending a wave of dust and debris flying. Yet it missed him by inches. Alex stood still, breathing slowly. His heart was racing, but his body refused to run. The creature's growl faded again. It was no longer testing his fear. It was testing his heart. From the observation deck above, Commander Zoran said quietly, "It's challenging him. The war beast demands strength, but not of muscle. It demands the strength of will." Another instructor nodded, eyes wide. "If the human breaks now, the beast will turn wild again." But Alex didn't break. Instead, he spoke softly again. "You've fought many wars. You've lost many, but you don't have to fight now. You can rest." Something flickered in the creature's eyes. The crowd fell completely silent. The sound of the beast's heavy breathing filled the air like waves against rock. The war beast bent down slowly, lowering its massive head until its eyes were level with Alex's. The ground trembled as it did. Alex could see his reflection in its red eye, small, fragile, but unafraid. He reached out slowly and carefully, placing his hand against the beast's forehead. The rough skin was warm under his palm. For a moment, time seemed to stop. Then the creature did something that made the entire academy gasp. It bowed. Its front legs bent, lowering its body slightly. Its head touched the ground in front of Alex, a gesture no one had ever seen it make before. Commander Zoran's voice broke the silence. "By the stars, it recognizes him." Alex stood quietly, unsure what to say. The war beast looked up again, its single red eye calmer now. It rumbled softly, as if asking what came next. Alex nodded slightly and said, "Stand with me, not against me." The creature rose again, standing tall beside him. The ground shook under its weight. It was now still, peaceful, and strangely protective. One of the alien cadets shouted, "That's impossible. The beast is programmed for rage. It cannot obey peace." But the commander silenced him. "You are witnessing history. The human has done what none of us could." Alex turned slightly toward the stands, his face calm but serious. "You all fought it with weapons and anger. I only listened. Sometimes strength is not in power, but in patience." His words echoed through the arena. Even those who couldn't fully understand his language felt the truth in his tone. The war beast made a low sound again. Alex felt something inside his mind, a faint connection, almost like emotion. He saw flashes, endless battles, pain, and finally, silence. The creature was tired. It had been fighting for too long. Alex whispered, "You don't have to fight anymore. You're free now." The creature tilted its head slightly like a nod. At that moment, the gates of the arena opened and the Academy's High Council entered. They were grand beings of different species dressed in glowing uniforms. The lead counselor, a tall being with blue crystal skin, looked down at the arena. "This trial is complete," he announced in a calm, echoing voice. "The war beast has found its handler. Record this in the Academy's core archives." The crowd erupted in disbelief and awe. Some cadets cheered. Others simply stood silent, unsure of how to process what they had seen. The creature slowly turned its head to Alex again. It made a short rumbling sound and lowered its head slightly once more, then walked to the center of the arena and sat beside him. Commander Zoran stepped forward from the observation deck, his voice strong. "Cadet Alex Wren, you have completed the trial of the war beast with honor and wisdom. For the first time in this Academy's history, the beast has chosen a companion." Alex nodded quietly. He didn't smile or boast. He simply said, "Thank you, Commander." The war beast growled softly beside him, almost as if agreeing. Later that evening, the Academy grounds were filled with stories. Cadets whispered about what had happened. Some said the human had used strange powers. Others said he had no fear at all. But those who saw it closely knew the truth. He had tamed the creature with understanding, not strength. Commander Zoran watched from his office window as Alex walked beside the beast in the training yard. "A human. I thought they were fragile," he muttered. "But perhaps we've misunderstood them." Another officer replied, "He didn't defeat the beast. He reached its heart. That's a strength none of us could learn." Zoran nodded slowly. "Then we must learn from him. Humanity has more to teach us than we thought. As night fell, the stars above the academy glowed like distant fires. The war beast rested outside Alex's quarters, lying quietly like a giant guardian. Its red eye dimmed, no longer filled with anger. Alex sat near it, looking up at the stars. "You were never a monster," he said softly. "You just needed someone to see you." The beast let out a low rumble, peaceful and steady like a sleeping storm. Alex smiled faintly. "Tomorrow we start a new kind of training. Together." And as the twin moons rose over the academy, casting pale light on the ground, the human and the war beast rested side by side, no longer enemies, but partners. For the first time in the academy's long, violent history, there was silence. A silence not of fear but of understanding, and that silence was more powerful than any roar. The sun rose slowly over Vornak's military academy, painting the domes in gold and silver. The academy had never been so quiet, so tense, and yet so full of excitement. Yesterday's events, the war beast choosing a human companion, had changed everything. Every cadet, alien and human alike, moved through the corridors with whispers trailing behind them. Some were in awe, some were curious, and some were still skeptical. But all eyes followed Cadet Alex Wren wherever he went. Even Thark, the reptilian cadet who had mocked Alex during arrival, now watched in silence. His usual pride was replaced with something else, respect or perhaps awe. In the training yard, the war beast stood beside Alex, calm but alert. Its massive form, once feared by all, now moved gracefully, protective and patient. Cadets and instructors gathered to witness the next stage. The human had earned the creature's trust. What would he do next? Alex spoke to the war beast softly. "Today we show everyone that strength is more than fighting. Let's train." The beast rumbled in agreement. Its red eyes glowed faintly, not with anger but with attention. Alex walked forward, demonstrating simple movements, hands open, steps steady. The war beast mirrored him in its way, cautious, precise, intelligent. It followed commands without force, responding to understanding rather than fear. Cadets who had faced it in the past watched in disbelief. None of them had survived more than a few seconds in the arena. Yet here was a human, teaching it, connecting with it, guiding it. Commander Zoran, observing from the balcony, finally spoke aloud. "Remarkable. The human has done something no other species could. Not with weapons, not with strategy, but with trust." Lieutenant Hera nodded. "It seems humanity's strength lies in ways we have not understood. Perhaps there is a lesson here for all of us." The academy began to change. Cadets who had relied solely on brute force now paused to observe, to think. Some practiced patience instead of speed, control instead of aggression. Alex's actions had begun to rewrite centuries of training philosophy. Even the High Council of the Galactic Union took notice. A delegation arrived within hours, traveling from distant planets to witness the bond between human and war beast. When the council entered the arena, Alex and the war beast stood at the center, calm and composed. The creature's massive head lowered slightly in acknowledgement. The council leader, a tall crystalline being named Counselor Arian, studied them carefully. "I have witnessed many warriors," Arian said, "but none have tamed a creature of war like this." "Human, what is your method?" Alex bowed slightly. "I listened. I watched. I understood. The war beast is not a weapon alone. It is intelligent and it deserves respect." Arian's eyes glowed. "Respect? A concept some species have long forgotten. Perhaps humans bring a new kind of wisdom to the galaxy." The other counselors murmured in agreement. Some were intrigued, some cautious, but all were impressed. Over the following weeks, Alex trained with the war beast every day. The pair moved through drills that no other cadet had ever attempted. They practiced precision attacks, obstacle navigation, and coordination exercises. The war beast learned to respond not to fear or force, but to subtle cues, a glance, a gesture, a calm command. Other cadets began joining these sessions. At first, they were unsure. Some tried to approach the creature with caution, others with old habits, speed, power, and aggression. Each time, Alex would intervene gently, showing them how understanding could yield cooperation instead of conflict. The war beast responded. It became not only obedient, but also protective. It learned to watch over cadets, to anticipate movements, to respond in ways that preserved life rather than destroy it. Word spread quickly across the academy. Humans are not weak. They have a strength that lies in wisdom and courage. Even Thark admitted quietly to himself, perhaps we judged them too soon. The alien cadets began asking Alex questions.
How do you do it?
One asked. How can you control a creature meant for war? Alex smiled faintly. I don't control it. I understand it. That is different. Power is useless if it creates only fear. Courage is not just standing against danger, it's standing for something you believe in. The cadets listened carefully. Slowly, the culture of the academy began to shift. It was no longer just about proving physical strength. It was about discipline, observation, patience, and connection. Months passed. The war beast, once feared across the galaxy, became a living legend. It no longer roared in anger at cadets or crushed machines in training. Instead, it guided them, working alongside Alex to improve their skills and their character. The Academy's leadership officially recognized Alex as the first human instructor of interspecies harmony. His methods became required training for all new cadets. Alex's achievements were soon shared with the Galactic Union Council. Humans, once considered fragile newcomers, were now respected not for brute strength, but for intellect, courage, and empathy. The war beast, lying beside him in the arena, seemed to understand its own role had changed. No longer only a trial or weapon, it had become a teacher, a partner, and a symbol of something greater. One day, as Alex trained the newest group of cadets, he noticed something remarkable. Cadets from multiple species, previously rivals, now worked together. They coordinated, not with commands shouted in anger, but with gestures, glances, and subtle signals. The war beast responded to them all with calm patience. Alex smiled. See? Strength grows when fear is replaced with understanding. A small human cadet, barely 10 years old, asked, Will it always be like this? Alex looked at the war beast now sitting calmly beside him. The creature gave a soft rumble, almost like a laugh. Yes, Alex said, as long as we remember that courage isn't just about facing danger. It's about standing for what is right and listening when others cannot speak for themselves. The cadet nodded, wide-eyed, and the lesson sank deep. Years passed. Alex became a symbol of human potential in the galaxy. The war beast grew older, its body larger and wiser, its scars deeper, but it never lost its calm and intelligence. Together they became a legendary pair, training generations of cadets, spreading a new philosophy across species, showing that empathy and understanding could be more powerful than weapons. Even planets far away sent observers to learn from the Academy. Humans were no longer underestimated. Their courage, patience, and wisdom were recognized as equal to the strongest aliens in the galaxy. The final ceremony took place beneath the twin suns. Alex stood at the center of the arena, the war beast beside him. Every cadet, instructor, and council member was present. The Academy had never seen such a gathering. Commander Zoran stepped forward, his voice booming. Today, we honor the human who changed the meaning of courage and strength. Alex Wren has shown us that understanding is a power all beings must respect. From this day forward, the Academy shall teach not only combat, but empathy, patience, and connection as lessons for every cadet who joins us. The war beast lowered its head slightly, acknowledging the words. It had been trained for war, but now it stood as a symbol of peace and guidance. Alex looked out at the cadets. Some were small, some tall, some covered in scales, fur, or armor, some human like him. They all stared with admiration and hope. He spoke softly, so only those near him could hear. Remember, true strength isn't in how much you can destroy, but in how much you can protect, guide, and understand. Fear breaks, courage unites. A ripple of agreement went through the crowd. The Academy had changed forever. That night, Alex sat beside the war beast under the twin moons. The arena was quiet. The creature's massive body rested peacefully. Alex whispered, "We've done it, friend. We've shown them a new path." The war beast gave a low, rumbling sound. It wasn't a roar. It wasn't a growl. It was a sound of contentment and recognition, a bond between two beings who had faced fear, anger, and doubt together. For the first time, the human and the beast looked at the stars in silence. The galaxy stretched out before them, full of challenges, conflicts, and wonders. But they were ready, not because of brute strength, but because of courage, understanding, and trust. And in that quiet moment, the Academy, the war beast, and humanity itself felt a new beginning. A future where beings of all kinds could rise together, not in fear but in unity. The legend of the human and the war beast spread across the galaxy. Children on distant worlds told stories of the cadet who tamed a living weapon with calm and patience. Scholars studied the lessons he left behind. Leaders from other planets sought his counsel. Alex smiled faintly as he looked at his companion.